Hello, I'm going to have a go at recording a Pauper League using a Jund Tortex list. So Tortex, Tortured Existence, has been around in Pauper for a long time. It used to be played quite regularly, but it's kind of too slow for the format now. I've got this list that I played quite a lot a while back, and I think I got a 5-0 with it. I'm actually quite happy with the deck as is. I think it's a pretty good build as far as you're going to go. The main, I guess, philosophy behind this is trying to play as many of the good cards as we can, and then minimizing cards that are only good in specific situations, like when we have the Torch Resistance up. So we've only got a few of the Grave Scrabblers and Kitchen Imps. Beyond that, we're essentially trying to play the best creature we can in a certain matchup as many times as possible. So we're finding them with cash grabs and malevolent rumbles. My Tri-Tournament buys a bit of time and a bit of space against mono red. A Death Touch block is really important against Terror decks or against Gruul monsters. Mass Vandal is our best card, or our best kind of repeatable exile effect for Artifact Hate if we're going to play Affinity. There's one Accursed Marauder hanging around and 3 more in the sideboard if there's a matchup that's good. Brown Scale is the kind of recursion that I'm choosing over Stinkweed Imp. I'll probably go to 1 Stinkweed Imp just to hedge. Occasionally, if we need a flying blocker, it's better. But the games go really long. Recurring life gain against mono red, for example. For each black mana, you can return a brown scale. If you pitch a brown scale, it's 1 black mana, gain 2 life. If you pitch another creature, it costs 2 mana to gain 2 life. But Stinkweed as a flying blocker can be relevant as well. So we've got 2 Crypt Rats, which will let us kind of control the board. Some Gnaw to the Bone. As I say, we want the game to go long, so if we get to a point our graveyard's quite stocked up, gain a bunch of life, we will stabilize in that way. Writhing Chrysalis is just the best creature. One of the benefits of this, I guess, this build is Writhing Chrysalis gets better the more of them you play. So, the first one was a 4/5, the second one there, 6/7s. Obviously, with Torch Resistance, we can recur a Chrysalis as often as we want. We need a few of these kind of madness things to combo with our Torch Resistance plan. But if the Torch Resistance isn't in play, they're pretty weak. And then finally, we need some land cyclers. So early on in this, in the early turns for this deck, you're really trying to get as many lands underneath you as possible. So being able to get a land cycle and then get another return this using a Torch Resistance, for example, to get another land cycle off is really, really powerful. In the sideboard, we've got a few more Gnaw to the Bones if we play red. Rounding out the Affinity Hate, I've always found Affinity is actually quite a rough matchup with this deck. 1 Scattershot Archer is just a very powerful answer against mono blue, especially if you can recur it with Existence. 1 Evolution Witness, just another creature that we can return for some value. A few Pharaoh Macabres, Graveyard Hate, the Accursed Marauders, and another Crypt Rats we mentioned. And I'm trying out an Augur of Skulls as something that might be good as a kind of slow, grindy, keep the opponent discarding cards. There is no hate against Brutecale in the sideboard. This deck isn't built to make a game, to finish a game quickly. I previously tried having a few things like the Black Seal that can kill a creature, and essentially all the things I've tried, you can't get that matchup to be any good. So we're just kind of letting that one go and hoping to avoid them in the leagues. So I guess our other matchups, fairly happy with. Obviously, having the best deck in the format be a terrible matchup is not a great place to start, but that's what you have to face if you were trying to play with Torch Resistance in this day and age. So let's jump into a league. So on the play in round 1, I've not played this deck separately for quite a while, and the matches do tend to go quite long, so we'll just try and play quite quickly. The red is just a splash for the Chrysalis, so play the Haunted Mire preferentially. So we can... We've only got very few red sources for the Chrysalis. I think we're going to want to play the Rumble. Did this work? Yeah. Play the Rumble. The alternative would be cycling one of these for a land now, but this is more mana efficient. Mass Vandal is great. I mentioned in the video at the start that this is kind of our affinity hate. It's actually also incredibly good against mono red. Yeah, they've got a few great furnaces you can pick off and slow them down. Synthesizer, or the artifact related creatures. They chose not to attack, which we'll happily take. So in this situation, I'll play the Mire, and I'm just going to play a 1/3 blocker. So getting essentially a net +5 life gifted to us by the opponent last turn is definitely a benefit. And now we'll block here if they want to choose to bolt this again, so just turning into 3 life. So a bit of a slower version with Rend Resolve, and that's a lot of rebirths. But hopefully we'll be able to go quite wide in our next turn with the Chrysalis. And the other thing I didn't mention is Mass Vandal is a squirrel, so this will give us a food token. So we're due to be taking a lot of damage off of the... they do have a Bushwhacker. They have a Bushwhacker with both rebirths. It's going to be a tough one to beat, but this is our best way of playing to the board. And let's cross our fingers. So unfortunately we have to sacrifice our sign tokens now. Hopefully this means they can't have a Bushwhacker this turn though. So they don't give us the opportunity to pick off the percussionist in combat. So we could cash grab and try and find a Crypt Rats, but we wouldn't have the mana to play it and then also activate. So I think we're going to play black-green for a Triton. Again, another blocker, incremental life gain. I'm going to swamp cycle the troll. Get a forest, which will be our cash grab. Again, we're just looking to soak up some pressure here. I'm expecting how they played last time. They didn't have a Bushwhacker. Oh, nope. So I was thinking if they did, they'd probably just double rebirth Bushwhacker last turn, but easier not to have to do the maths here. We'll block for as much as we can. So I don't think we are quite dead. No, 12, 14, 16. So they need another burn spell, which obviously they are fairly likely to have. Some choices blocking a I guess they're all 2/2, so we should have blocked a 2/1 and just picked it off. Go to the end step, we get a food token and return Crypt Rats. So that's pretty fortunate. And then again, we've now got enough should have enough to pay for that. So green, black, play Crypt Rats, swamp. We'll gain the life now. I mean, we're always going to be activating the Crypt Rats now, so I think we need to attack. We have a Mass Vandal left over that will be our blocker. So obviously they didn't have a burn spell last turn, maybe they've drawn one now, so we might have another turn to draw into it. Essentially we have another turn that they have to break off for. We'll play ourselves a Generous Ant. Attack for... I guess if they have a haste creep, they could easily have a haste creature as well, so leaving back the Mass Vandal. I think we get to gain 3 life and then be attacking next turn, the 1 damage won't matter. Hold. That mountain. So obviously we had to get very fortunate with hitting the Crypt Rats as we did, but we did get there again towards a pretty strong draw from them. So sideboarding this matchup, I'll take the extra north to burn the extra Crypt Rats. I can't remember if I've been bringing this in. Let's look at the list and try and work it out. Cards to come out. Don't like the Accursed Marauder. It's just too slow. Then I believe I might have been cutting a Grave Scrabbler from memory. Again, a card that's only good when we have a Torch Resistance in play is also just a bit too slow. I think I might have been cutting both of these. And I think Syncreed Imp is tricky because it's quite good with Handle to the Bone. You need something to fill our graveyard up more quickly. So these 3 seem like the best swap, and then this needs what's this? Artifacts. Sorry, artifacts, enchantments, or other tokens. So obviously we make some Scion tokens here, and we can sometimes get a token off of the cash grab. Against Mono Red, I don't think we're going to have the time to kind of set this up as we can against Affinity sometimes. Again, the idea being that we can lose this. So I think just essentially all of our kind of slower recursion engine, the really slow Accursed Marauder, some more Gnaw to the Bone and a Crypt Rats. The Gorilla Shaman, again, it's 1 mana, which trading off for 1/1, to be honest, I'd sometimes taken the matchup, but we're quite slow to actually get our red mana under us. So we've got 2 Chrysalis as the kind of stabilizing. We won't have a creature to hit the graveyard to pay off our Mass Vandal. But I have to take a 1/3 blocker. With them playing off the Great Furnace, that might be kind of greedy if I get the chance. Alternatively, the second Mass Vandal will get them. opponent's not going easy on us here, so. Again, we'll just block, try and soak up some damage. I think they're quite likely to try and kill this. Well, people weren't playing this back when I was playing this previously. This is going to be a beating. So I think we're just going to be too slow, but we can play a Mass Vandal. I'll take out one of Great Furnace over the Blood Token. This makes our what do we call it, Gnaw to the Bones a bit worse, but I think we have to try and slow them down. Kind of glad they didn't attack with the Epicure. I think I'd just, whether it's a mistake or not, I'd probably have just been blocking a Tomb Raider to prevent the most damage possible. Well, now hopefully we have the ground completely gummed up. We're really far away from being able to do anything with the Crypt Rats, but if another creature can die, we put them down to one land, maybe we can cheese them out. Obviously, it's not looking good. So that's 4 damage. Where was this going? So any other burn spell will do it. Creature's alright for us, for now. Turn off all 2 heals. If they do attack with this, we can put a spawn in front of it and sack it. So, always going to be swamp cycling this. We could try and play out our Crypt Rats now. That's interesting. So we can try and play our Crypt Rats out now, but we'd only ever be activating it for 1 currently, and obviously it damages us as well. Just slam a Chrysalis. It's the other option. The other thing we can do is we can Mass Vandal and pick off another one of their lands. We've seen them on Ren's Resolve. We could obviously turn that off as a live draw. I'm not too worried about playing a Chrysalis. I think if we start attacking, they have they can jump with the Clockwork Percussionist, for example. So that doesn't seem particularly good to me. I think we're just going to have to be kind of cheesy, but again, it's unfortunate that we're minimizing the creatures in our graveyard, so even if we were to draw a Gnaw to the Bone, it's going to be cold. So green, black. Play Crypt Rats just to use our mana. Green and 1. We'll play our 3rd Mass Vandal of the game, go after the Furnace. And pass the turn back. So I guess our ideal draw, that'll do. So our ideal draw would have been a way to get a ground scale into the graveyard, and that's kind of would have been our main life gain effect. So on the draw, and they had 2 of the Goblin Tomb Raiders, this is always going to be quite tough. I'm not sure, having seen the Keswick Flame Breather, whether that has to change our plan at all. I think we're just going to run this back. But Flame Breather seems like it would be very hard to beat. Well, this hand is set up to try and get a Gnaw to the Bone off, and it depends on how well we hit on our cash grab. So we can go, say, I guess, don't think it matters too much. Forest, Swamp Cycle, then play the Gnaw. and Swamp Cycle in their end step. I think we just want to play. I don't think I want to prioritise getting double green. We can get another green source off this, or a land off the cash grab. Comes into play tap land. Sounds like a bit of a what's the word? Sounds like it's going to get us into trouble. So again, being mana efficient, we'll hold up and try and play a cash grab next turn. So in a curse mortar would have been pretty good. But so another North to the Bone goes to the graveyard. We could pick up this Chrysalis. I think we have to take the Chrysalis. Just the first one to come up the board should be pretty good. So this is quite a slow turn. Swamp for this. Play out the landscape, which will fetch a swamp. And we've got the mountain in hand. So let's hope this turn isn't too painful. So the alternative to picking up the Chrysalis would have been to leave it in the graveyard for North to the Bones. But I think we need the first one to come up the board, and hopefully it looks like the opponent's giving us enough time to pay that off. Obviously more swamps, very good for our torture resistance. So we'll play the first Chrysalis. And see if we can hold. Make sure we don't have water yields on. So I'm reading that as they have a lot of burn in their hand. Another Chrysalis. Well, it's been far too long since I played this, so the first thing that comes to mind is that I really want to get another creature into the graveyard in order to increase the power on these North to the Bones. We have a total of 6-7 mana available, so this could be black-red, or black-red green, play Crypt Rats, hold up a forest, and then have black-green available, so we could sack the 2 spawns for mana and activate Crypt Rat to 1 and play the Gnaw. It might seem kind of counterproductive to just basically spend a turn killing my own Crypt Rats, but if they are on a load of burn, gaining 4 life would be pretty good. The alternative is, if we get another swamp off of this and have a Crypt Rat in play, that might be basically our only way to pick off the Flame Breaker. I feel like our situation on the board isn't particularly scary as is. So kind of playing out the Chrysalis, a second one, doesn't really change that situation very much. So I've talked myself into Crypt Rats, play a forest, and pass the turn. If they don't sling a load of spells our way, if they don't sling a load of spells our way, we'll have to think as to what we do with the Crypt Rats again. So I think we're, again, quite fortunate. They've had two pretty hot draws the first two games, so pretty fortunate this one has slowed down a bit. What's this? Chain Lightning at the face, puts us down to 9. I mean, another Chain Lightning. Lightning Bolt Fire Blast is the worst combination they'd have here, that would burn us out directly. But I don't think we can afford to respond to this, like kill our own board. Obviously, killing this spawn tokens is kind of the biggest problem, that they're doing quite a lot of work as jump blockers. But the other plan we have here, if they don't force us to use an All to the Bone, would be getting back the Troll of Khazad-dûm, just to put that, and that's a kind of way to sneak this into the graveyard and get us another untapped swamp. If we can get that off, I would actually feel in pretty good shape. And the other last thing I'll mention is you can tend to do quite a lot of responding to the Tortured Existence trigger. So, for example, pay black, return this, you pay the cost, this goes to the graveyard. In response to the troll being recurred, then you activate the Gnaw. So let's see what their attacks are. So you can block here. Well, the spawn token being priced into blocking, I don't think we can afford to lose 2 mana, so I think we're going to be using a Gnaw. So if we go block here to kill this, block here to chump, block here to chump, block here. Actually, slightly better, right, to do this. Oh, sorry, wrong way around. So what I'm thinking is the advantage of doing it this way around is we can pay black to put this in the graveyard and activate the Gnaw, and essentially we just, if all this would be achieving is killing the Epicure anyway, we can do that through combat damage. So I think I like these blocks, and I guess we're trying to fade Fire Blast. So pay black, try and return the Troll, and discard the Chrysalis. We've got a point here where we've got 2 creatures in the graveyard, so we'll flash back the Gnaw, gain 4 life now. And this is where we have to fade the Fire Blast. So we do get our 4 life off, return the Troll to our hand, go to damage, and then we can, for the low price of 1 black mana, this Troll could become a Chrysalis again to come up the board. That's required. or a Crypt Rats, as it may be. Actually, now that we're up to 12 life, just making another Chrysalis, that'll be huge. We'll have a wide board again, and we'd even have 2 mana still available for this. So black, return Chrysalis. We need to leave up a forest so that we can hold up the gnaw off of 2 spawn tokens. Kind of tricky because we've used up a... Okay, we go down to 8. Kind of tricky, so we've used up a cycle there, and we're out of creatures to help acquire our stuff now. So this is again slight. I'm glad that the first few games went so quickly. We need to have some time. We really don't want to kill this, so I want to chump it with a spawn, then we can sacrifice for value. I don't know whether I want to sack this spawn as well to gain the life now. I think I'd rather wait, and then we've got a chance to draw another effect to put creatures in the graveyard. You know, a Gnaw to 4 would certainly help. We'll have that option anyway. We've not currently got anything to do at that mana. If we were to hit, say, Malevolent Rumble and you can get a bigger Gnaw off, then I'd be much more confident. Crypt Rats is okay. So we don't have anything to do with red mana. Crypt Rats could be anything, could be another Crypt Rats. So is that better? Do we want to gain 6 life now, play the Crypt Rats and not be able to use it? That doesn't sound great. So play Crypt Rats, play our land. Let's see how this goes. So if they draw a Bushwhack or something, we'll need to be able to Crypt Rats for 1. This is the attack. We'll just put a spawn token in front of it and then sacrifice again. Again, we've got quite a few, powerful draws that will hopefully put us out of kind of a burn range now. So giving them the extra card early is something we want to avoid if we can. Let's see what it is they've got. They don't play anything that strongly looks like a burn spell. So again, unless it's a Fire Blast, I'm safe to fetch, get a Swamp. Great draw. I'll use the Mountain preferentially. I hope to put some creatures in the green. Hopefully a brown scale is great. So this puts it directly in your hand, whereas the Cash Grab puts it into the graveyard, then returns it, which is worth knowing for the brown scale. So if we get ourselves a Kitchen Imp, then we can pay black, pitch Kitchen Imp to return brown scale, have all 3 of these have both in the graveyard, play a Gnaw to Bone, play the Kitchen Imp of Madness. That seems great. We'll put a stop in our upkeep so that we can do some brown scale things at the start of the next turn. And at this point, I think we might have got there. So discard this, pay black, cast the Gnaw to gain 8 life. Yeah, and they're happy there. So we would have gained 8 life of the Gnaw, another 2 off of the brown scale, and then in our next upkeeps would have been starting returning, discarding the brown scale, returning it to gain some life. So quite fortunate to top deck the Crit Rats, or hit the Crit Rats off of the Rumble and win game 1, but they had a really strong draw. Game 2 we fell over to, again, a strong draw. Game 3 they're a bit slower, it was touch and go, but we eventually stabilised. The opponent had enough. 1-0 to the good guys. So getting into round 2, again we're on the play. We'll be keeping. Need to figure out what we'll do. So I think I'm tempted to lead on Landscape, Swamp Cycle, play the Swamp. It depends what they're on against, but essentially trying to work out how to get as many untapped lands into our hand as possible, just so that we're not always playing several turns behind. I guess if we're going down that path, we could just play this and then double land cycle. So offer to split. A rough one to turn down when you're playing a terrible deck, but so we can move our upkeeps up. I think I've talked myself into leading on the forest. Let's see what they're on. Elves. It could be better, could be worse. We've got Mass Vandal, which is now good against their terrible for card names at the minute. Nyxborn Hydras. I think I want to green Swamp Cycle. Play a Swamp. I'm tempted to try and get the black-green duel off of this, which we can do at any time. So we've got Mass Vandal against Nyxborn Hydra, and then we've got 3 Crit Rats, and we're going to need to draw 1 and activate it pretty soon. But if we do, we might stand a chance. So black, forest cycle. I'm going to maximise the number of black-green lands, black sources we can hit. So I think I'm now probably playing the Haunted Mire, holding up Cash Grab. Obviously we're taking a lot of damage here with the Quivering Ranger and tapping this. But hopefully we'll be putting quite a few creatures in the graveyard that we can get some value off to the north of the bone with. Yeah, this isn't going to end well. I guess actually a Chrysalis is a pretty good hit here, just because we can try and block up 2 of these. They're respecting that we might have something by leaving up the Timberwatch Elves. Little do they know, we just don't. So we've got to take a Torch of Distance, no other option. Things don't look good for our hero, so we're going to have essentially 4, 8, 12, 13, 14 power. So we're dead to any creature, it won't really matter what we block. So we'll have to hold up the Gnaw. Maybe 4 life gets there. and then we want to be able to Crypt Rat for 2. Let's still be able to untap the Timberwatch Elf if we do. So we need to basically put a black source into play this turn and hold up Gnaw. So that means actually playing out the torch resistance doesn't really get us anywhere. So I think we should be dead, but we'll force them to do it. So this is 11, 17 damage. So we do just about survive. Oh no, they've got the other ranger. They've not used that, have they? So I'm dead to that, so we'll keep the Gnaw back. Keep it a secret. Opponent cannot believe their luck. Getting matched into torch resistance at 4-0. So we'll bring in the Accursed Marauders. They're not great. This is kind of similar to what I read, where all they're doing is picking off their worst creature at any given time. But I think we're just trying to have as much interaction as we can. I'll take the Evolution Witness. There's another way to recur things. Don't think any of the other bits sound good. Augur I'm going to leave out because we're going to end up in like a top deck war. Actually just regenerate blocker sounds kind of tempting. In terms of boarding things out, I could board out the Mire Tritons. You seem pretty poor. And again, expecting that they're going to be on Nyx Born Hydra, I want to keep the Masked Vandals around if I can. Stinkweed Imp seems like a kind of a better Mire Triton. Maybe I cut one of the Gnaw to the bones. Kind of if they're going to kill us, they're going to kill us pretty dead. Just gaining some life probably isn't going to be enough to do anything. On the play again. So we do actually have 2 lands to get a rumble off, but it's going to be very slow. So this would be fetch up a green-black source. Turn 3, we can either play a Marauder or a Rumble. Don't think we can keep that. There's a stand, so we fetch a forest, turn 1. I guess we're hoping to turn these cash grabs into something better than a cash grab. So keep, I'll put back the Vandal. Fetch ourselves up a forest. We like to save Crypt Rats. I think we'll lead on Malevolent Rumble. Quite a lot of choice here. I think it's got to be the black-red land to get a Chrysalis on board. Obviously we need black pips for the Crypt Rats. I think we just play the Crypt Rats here where we can't activate it. over holding up the cash grab. I guess we hold up the cash grab as long as we hit land. Because we're tight on black pips, I'm just going to do this. Play the Crypt Rats. As much this is hoping to kind of... Are they on an Essence Scatter or something? Rough. Okay. Well, we can recur it. So again, they're holding up some funky colours of mana now. I'm going to lead on a cash grab. So a Curse Mord doesn't seem great. If I get back the forest, I can play the Torch Resistance, which risks kind of leaving that out to dry to enchantment, artifacts or enchantment hate. The alternative is get the Twisted Landscape and turn that into a black swamp now. So if we were to play the Torch Resistance, we'd have no black mana to return the Crypt Rats on this turn. Even if they let it, I guess if they let it leave it in play, then we do get to return the Crypt Rats off of one black pip, and then in our next turn, play it, it leaves us only one open. So I think we might be having a turn off to try and play a Chrysalis, just to give us some more headroom. I think playing the difficult if they're leaving up another false summoning. So essentially, if they're slowing themselves down and we've got time, I'm quite happy with just trading, gaining time if they're playing slowly. I just don't want to miss a turn cycle and then have them explode next turn and then us fall behind. I think I'm just going to say go and not play the Torch Resistance. The risk of them having either a negate or a Mass Vandal in hand. But they couldn't use a Mass Vandal because they're not going to X creature. Don't move until the turn. I want to go to the end step. Get myself a swamp. So black for Torch Resistance, black to return Crypt Rats. And then we'll pass the turn with the Crypt Rats in play. The alternative is just play a Chrysalis. If we do, they attack with everybody, they can kill the Chrysalis. We would have 2 signs left over. Or we can play the Torch Resistance and pass. No, so it's 3 black mana to pick up a Kitchen Imp and then play it. I think we're probably just returning the Crypt Rats and then passing the turn with that in play. And 3 black pips available. What do we want to pitch? I don't think we need both Chrysalis. Again, if the Torch Resistance hangs around, it's not gone forever. And then essentially the most pressure they could apply would be, or one of the ways they could apply more pressure, so we'd have to respond more quickly, would be if they have a Nyxborn Hydra, which this looks like it is. So we're taking 6 damage this turn. Or if they choose to tap it. If they tap it, then we get to kill that elf. Oh, I definitely forgot how hard this was to play. So I like Mass Vandal, pick off this. And then we can Madness a Grave Scrabbler instant speed to help block and leave up what looks like 3 black pips. So if we're doing that, I think we can pitch one of your Curse Marauders. No attacks. Wasn't ready for no attacks. So hopefully they don't have a way to interact, and we're just basically going to slow play them now. So black, cast this off in Madness. I'll get back the Chrysalis. What went wrong there? I discarded it. I played it with Madness. I didn't get to return a creature. That's unfortunate. I got to put it into play, but I didn't get to return a second creature. I didn't check if there were any bugs before starting. So start by just getting myself another swamp. At this point we could say activate twice for Crypt Rats to wipe the board. And I think I'm going to leave up the Kitchen Imp as another Madness play. Yeah, so I can leave up the Kitchen Imp as another play I can make with Madness. And threatening holding up the Crypt Rats activation. So we can get back. I'll just get back the Troll. Sorry, I'm trying to get distracted by the Grave Scrabbler. I'm sure that must have been a bug. So my logic is that essentially if both of us are just sat here and the game keeps going longer, I'm quite happy with that as a way forwards. But my end of the bargain to keep that being the game state is that I need to essentially leave 2 to 4 black mana up. If I get back the Crypt Rats and threaten to attack, they'll either take 2 damage or have to use the Timberwatch Elf to pump. So I think this is going to be my way to keep, I guess, moving the game state forward to my end. I can attack with 2 Madness creatures now that I can return at very low cost to myself. It's not a bad hit. So I think I'm just going to attack like this. If they attack back, I'll trade with it. I'll pick off something with a Mass Vandal if I can. and then just see what, try and play very patiently and do this until they have to break, do something else. I probably should have swamp cycled. I'm very happy with this because I can just trade anything back into a kitchen imp. So I will swamp cycle now. Put the swamp in play. So get back kitchen imp. Discard one of the 2 Chrysalis. Get back the Chrysalis, discard a kitchen imp. By discarding something of madness, we're essentially getting back the kitchen imp for free. Well, I guess for the cost of like 4 mana. But no cards. And then we're just going to attack again. Okay, they chomp now. Okay, so they are committing to try and kill stuff. Let's see. So we can activate Crypt Rats for 1. I guess 3 times. That way they're almost definitely going to have to respond. I'm imagining it's going to be like a Vine to the Battlefield or something. I'm not really sure. And then that's going to wipe our board, but then we'll play a Chrysalis onto the empty board. And then this is again the advantage of making quite a lot of swamp land drops. So I think this is the plan. I'm not too sure what they might have. There's like an effect that prevents one of these instances. It shouldn't be enough to save them. So they add a green mana. Looks like a Vines. Yeah. So I think I'm just going to pick this off. So black, return Curse Marauder, pitch a Chrysalis, black green, play a Curse Marauder, play this as our land drop. And we've even got the Evolution Witness if they can pick off the Tortex. Yeah, this seems like we've stabilised for this game. So get back another swamp. Play the torch. Use the torch resistance to get back the kitchen imp. Discard the Chrysalis. Get back the Crypt Rats. Normally I get back the Grave Scrabbler, but if it's going to be bugged, I don't want to waste the mana. Cool. So we've got 10 minutes now to play the get game 3 in. I feel kind of bad if this guy is 4-0. yeah, 3 minutes to get the game 3 in. It'll take 2 minutes now whilst we're sideboarding to work out if there is a bug with Grave Scrabbler. I'll pause the video and come back. So, have just quickly checked online, and this is December 2024, and apparently it's a known bug with the Grave Scrabbler. So that's going to make the rest of this league pretty rough, but at least we know about it and can plan accordingly now. I'm going to keep this. Doesn't look as good as our hand game 2, but could be worse. We've got the Crypt Rats, which obviously was very important to the game plan. We're fetching up a swamp now. Oh, that's bad. I definitely meant to fetch in the end step. Oh, it's not actually punished. I guess I was leaving an extra black source in the leaving extra swamp in the deck, trying to play tightly. Right? This opponent is exploding pretty fast here. I think to get there we're going to need to draw an untapped land so we can play the. Oh no! So it would have mattered because we could have got, if we had a swamp in play, we could have got another land off the Generous Hunt. So we will fetch the swamp now. Untap. I'm a master. Just play the Crypt Rats onto the board and I hope that it holds. Didn't even look at what they've returned all these. So, Dispersal Sentinel, 2 Findhorn Elves, and they bricked on the first one. So, we're not blocking. So we can fetch ourselves a land. We can fetch ourselves a black-green land. And then we're essentially setting up, same as the last game, to hopefully activate this twice. They'll keep around one of their elves and we can pick it off with a Marauder. I mean, we'll take 4 damage from just being attacked, but I think probably the worst thing about the Grave Scrabbler bug is Kitchen Imp would just kind of be strictly better at that point. Just the madness cost is lower, but we'll get there. You don't play a Tortex with a light and expect it to go well. Obviously, so far we've avoided our nightmare of playing against. I've forgotten the playing against Broodscale. So again, we're going to activate this for 1 twice. So they keep around that Timberwatch. Pick off everything else. We'll get to a Curse Marauder down the Timberwatch Elf. I guess we lead black-green on a Malevolent Rumble. Probably just picking a land if we can. We've got the Torch Resistance, so I'd rather a land than any of these. Just black pips. Black-green Curse Marauder. And then black for Torch Resistance, black to recur something. So essentially we can activate Crypt Rats for 1, which we will do. drawing it's even better. So red green. I guess with drawing it, we're not actually forced to play it this turn either. Red, green, black, black. Get a Chrysalis into play. Oh no, then we can't. Just focus on playing quickly. No, I don't like that either. I think I like just getting the Chrysalis into play so that we can put a clock on them. Then play the Crypt Rats from hand. We won't be able to activate it on board. If they have a ram through, they have a ram through, but we'll be able to recur it with a torch resistance still. And then this will be our clock. I guess if they have a what's the card called? Have a Nyxborn Hydra. We don't currently have a kind of way to answer that. And we've moved on to 2-0. Not expecting that. Hello, so on the play again for round 3. And we'll keep. Don't have a green source, which is quite troubling, but have to keep and try and get there. So we'll lead on Sulphurous Mire, play a Mire Triton, and hope that they're a deck that it's relevant against. This could be a long day. So expecting they're on Turbofog, what do we have to kind of help us in this matchup? I guess that we can recur. First thought is that we can recur. That's not mill 5, right? I guess if we mill 5, we've got a good chance of hitting a land cycler, which will get us off forest. I like that. So we don't, but we do hit Golgari Brown Scale. So attack here. And what's it saying? So I guess our plan is that we'll be able to get a load of swamps in play and then start looping Crypt Rats. Dredge for 2. I'll play Crypt Rats. I have to spend an extra turn getting it back. It's better than just playing another Triton. I think I just want another Triton and get them into the point where they have to start fogging us more quickly. Do you mill another 2 looking for a land cycler? Made a mistake the end of last turn by not pitching putting the Distinct Freedom back in the graveyard so we had another thing to dredge. Again, try and find some lands. But we had milled ourselves about 20 cards already, so a desert? Really? Okay, so we hit a troll, which is a good start. So black, the Grave Scrabbler, remember, doesn't do anything. So black, discard, Golgari Brown Scale. Swamp Cycle. Basic Swamp. Black, get back this. I don't think there's anything the Mass Fund would be relevant for. And again, we can always get it back if we need it. Guess we don't have to Swamp Cycle now. And I guess we don't attack this kind of ties up a mana on their turn, is what I'm thinking. Might be wrong. I've got to think this is a pretty rough matchup for us. Oh, I definitely should have got a forest by now though for the North of Bones. They wouldn't play Bajuka Bob in this, would they? That'd be unfortunate. That'd be cruel. So we're going to be basically getting back Golgari Brown Scales, cycling so basically for the rest of the game, our turns are going to be dredging back Golgari Brown Scale, possibly cycling a Troll of Khazad-dûm, land cycling Troll of Khazad-dûm, or just getting back a Crypt Rats. And that is our plan, and we're sticking to it. I don't want to have 2 Crypt Rats in the graveyard if I can avoid it, just so that I don't get, if they're both in there and I get caught by a Bajuka Bog, that's pretty rough. So Swamp Cycling now doesn't really do anything for me. They've got 2 deserts now? I'm going to guess that the best of these Tritons are going to turn into is 2 life. So I'm just going to attack now. 2 damage. And then having them in the graveyard for the North of the Bone is going to turn them into some life as well. Pick off 1. Yep. So the rest of my turn will probably be Swamp Cycle this, pitch the Stinkweed Imp, get back Crypt Rats. Actually, this matchup, the Grave Scrabbler bug is going to be really punishing. Because otherwise, normally we'd be able to get back this and then pick up both of the Crypt Rats in one go. So that's on the downside. On the plus side, I'm not much of a YouTube guy, but I'm looking forward to my thumbnail of is Grave Scrabbler broken? And of course the answer will be yes, he is currently bugged. So we get back Golgari Brown Scale. So with 2 Golgari Brown Scales now, we can loop them to gain essentially infinite life, or 2 life per activation. And obviously the North of the Bones gaining us a whole bunch of life as well. So if we play a Crypt Rats whilst their shields are effectively down, can't have like an Arcane Denial, we get free attack for 2 as well. And then depending on what they do, I'll either pick up another, if they had a Bajuka Bog, I'll pick up another Crypt Rats. If they don't have a Bajuka Bog, I'll probably just gnaw for 24 life. I guess we gnaw, they can Arcane Denial, maybe just gaining 6 guaranteed life is better. Just running it into a Arcane Denial. This might be wrong, but so this is kind of a very powerful loop in the deck if you're playing against a mono red, for example. Or also, to be honest, against like a mid-range deck that's going to have a 4/4 and can beat you down, you can just get the game into a position where you're not actually that fussed about the extra damage each turn. So I think we get the other swamp out of our deck now. Again, this Grave Scrabbler bug is going to be a right pain for us. I'll turn the Mire Triton into 2 damage. And then I guess the other advantage on gaining life with the brown scale loop is that they're going to have to do all the work for weather the storms themselves. So they've tapped out of blue mana, which I'm surprised by. Yeah, they do play 1. They tap it again. I'm surprised by that. I would have thought that they wanted to hold up a load of blue mana for a Arcane Denial to stop us getting another Crypt Rats into play. Okay, they just get their weather off now. How much is it? 12's quite a lot. So again, if we're in a position we could get back a Grave Scrabbler, I guess we can now as a just to put 2/2 into play. But if we're in a position we could get back a Grave Scrabbler, and then use it to get back 2 Crypt Rats, I'd have a chance of fighting through an Arcane Denial, because essentially it's, as long as we have, for the mana we have, yeah, still bugged. For all the mana we have, we'd essentially have access to infinite number of creatures to recur. So get back the brown scale. But as is, I think it's going to be quite tough. We're getting to a point soon where they're going to be able to start going after us with a I've forgotten what the card's called now. Replicate, mill, another one. So to be tapped out of blue again. So I'm tempted to just do 7 off of a Crypt Rat. I guess they gain 1 million. Seven off the Crypt Rats, and then start of next turn, basically put a Crypt Rats back into play. I don't think we're going to get there in time, are we? Anything else to loop? No. I don't think we've got a better option. So we'll go for it, but I guess at the sideboard we've got that, whatever the discard guy was called, as an option. Yeah, getting 1 million. And then we also bring in some Fairy Macabre's graveyard hate that can, I don't know, potentially mess them up. So dredge 2 for brown scale, black, get black. I guess we're not activating the Crypt Rats this turn, so we can get back a Scrabbler on the way. Crypt Rats. Cast it. So again, in an ideal world, we'd be picking up a second Crypt Rats as we do. And pass the turn back. Again, 15, we did 7, you know, we're making progress. Looks like I might be counting how much mana they can make. It's going to be the big replicate. Streamer thought that was it. So they're going to mill us for 12 now, and then probably 12 in the start of the next turn. And that'll be game. Even if not, obviously they're putting a whole bunch of gas back in their deck. So we'll go on to game 2. So Fairy Macabres might be able to choose something, pick off a. If we can pick out some Moments Piece, I think we'll have more chance contributing from combat damage. A Crypt Rats plan, I mean, that clearly looked too slow. A Curse Marauder is only good if they're going to think that we don't have any removal, which obviously they've not really seen much. Bringing a Murmuring Mystic, I guess we've got the Crypt Rat plan for that. So let's cut. Again, have a cut pile, bring in pile. I don't want the Stinky. And I guess the March items were just getting picked off by their bunch of deserts. They don't seem too good either. Boarding in a 2-2 against Grizzly Bear against Turbofog doesn't seem to be a good a winning strategy. Maybe this is fine as a hedge against Murmuring Mystic only, and another creature that I guess the flaw in this deck, FLOOR, is pretty low because you can always just discard a creature for another creature. So maybe I do this. 5 cards to bring in. I guess Stinky is better than any of those. Man, keeping a load of 1/3s in feels pretty rough. But cool. So yeah, I think we have to kind of cheese them with a Fairy Macabre in order to get there in this game. We'll keep this. It's got lands and spells, and see whether they amount to anything. I think I'll go for an end step cash grab. Take the swamp. Sorceress Mire is pretty good. Again, hopefully with the Ferromacabres being looped, we can actually get through some Moment of Peace, for example. So what do we want here? Don't think I'm after a Crypt Rat again. Oh, after another Crypt Rat. I think just the Swamp is fine. Play out Sorceress Mire. I think the Mass Vandal is going to be better served being discarded to return something else. So I'll just play out Crypt Rats. I'm not sure whether I think they're going to have any. I'll send a message for the spawn token. I don't know if they're going to have any Artifact Enchantment Hate. I think if it's just 1 mana, we can leave the Tortured Cint in our hand and keep it safe. So they do have the Murmuring Mystic, so we want to get back that Scattershot Archer. We're still a few turns off from being able to Crypt Rats for 5. We still don't want the Mass Vandal. I guess we can turn the spawn token into a 1 power flyer. Is that the best we've got? So I'm not too surprised they brought this in. They obviously saw the majority of our deck was in a graveyard at the end of that game. They'll have only seen a couple of the Curse Marauders. Okay, deal. As removal, so they'll know that we don't really have a great way of dealing with these. But this is our kind of, as I say, a kind of hedge. At least it would have attacked, whereas the Curse Marauder risks not doing anything. So attack for 1, make our land drop. So there you go. Just yield to the end step. And in our end step we'll do 1 to all of the flyers. In their end step each turn. I guess probably their beginning of combat if it's whoever's more relevant. So good to know they do have some Artifact Enchantment Hate, so we'll just keep this back until we deem we need it. Land's not too good yet. I'll try and attack for 1. Obviously, a decent chance they have an instant or something, but I've actually missed that if we attacked and they made some blockers, used the desert, killed our own Stinky, and kind of mascot the deck. Actually, I don't know what I'd say the mascot of this deck is. Not something I've previously had reason to think about. So stop so they can't attack. Can't kill us that way. Another Mass Vandal, still not really doing anything. They've tapped the desert, so we can attack with the Imp, getting for 1. So they've brought in 3 Murmur Mystics at least. So they have kind of shifted gears. I guess I'm now hoping that they are firmly on the Murmur Mystic plan and, you know, brought it out. I don't know. The planet, I've forgotten the card's name again. The Replicate spell. Be nice to dream. I could be, obviously, can be going through and work out all of the things that they have return to their hand here. But if I said I don't know, I've given up hope slightly, really. The only way I can see getting into this game is by catching something with a Pharaoh Macabre when they're not expecting it and stopping them from being able to replicate. Or stopping them being able to put the replicate spell back in their deck. Obviously, if they have enough lands in play, then they'll just have a really big turn when they mill us and put cards back in theirs. But unfortunately, our time of attacking for 1 looks to be over. And if there is a match for our deck to kind of crap out in, Turbofog is probably the best one to do it. We've got to imagine pretty big dogs anyway. The Ultra needs a raise for sure. Working overtime. So this just runs straight into an Arcane Denial. I guess it's going to draw us 2. Yep. We know they've got at least one other. So I don't want to play the Torch Resistance out and get that caught up as well. It's really thin, so I'm just going to say no. I think we've been on the play at the start of every round now. This is a bit of a weak one, but we can Swamp Cycle this for black-red land, and then try and catch something with Mass Vandal turn 2. If all goes well. So if that's the plan, I think we lead on the landscape. So expecting this is probably like a Gruul Monsters, Gruul Ramp type deck. I did this the wrong way around. I meant to tap it to Swamp Cycle. Well, we can just catch that up now. Some cycle for the Sulphurous Mire. Interesting to see what they get. Highland Forest, yeah, still reckon probably the Ghoul Monsters deck. Turns to be Dredge. Card to draw. So our plan for this matchup is essentially we can make quite a lot of Death Touch blockers with the Mire Triton, and then we're pretty good at making huge. It's a hater. Pretty good at making huge Writhing Chrysalises. So it looks like they managed to skip their turn, whether intentionally or not. But this is an interesting point for the future. So because we've got touch resistance and all these land cyclers, we're pretty resistant to land destruction in terms of if they try and blow up all of our lands. But we've actually only got a fair few number of red sources. So being able to keep say a mountain in hand or available with a landscape can be quite important. But here we are just going to try and go big. See them skipping their fifth turn has helped us a lot. Chrysalis of their own. Two Chrysalis of their own. Interesting, they kind of feel like they're under enough pressure where they have to do that this turn as opposed to get the counters on both. Be quite greedy. So we could use the Crypt Rats to just get in for 6, basically kill this one token to get in for 6 damage. With the Troll, I think that's got to be too weak. So I think just play the Swamp Pass. Instead, kind of try and head for a game where so we should be able to block here and bounce off, and then head for a game where eventually they will draw land destruction as the game goes on, and we'll hopefully be able to start looping warders or other creatures that are going to be relevant. I used to find these matches quite interesting because you were quite good at dying slowly, but if they had a kind of a very big turn where they could explode into a boarding party, a big hit, you would get run over you were at risk getting run over. Scred's pretty rough. So you get to take out one of our 2 creatures. Go for the Troll. Okay. we've got a choice here of trying to trade the Chrysalis in for their bigger one off the back of using our swamps for the quick traps. And that way we could prevent all damage and they'd be left with a 4-5 on the board to our nothing. I think that's kind of going to have to do. Not the best time to draw another Chrysalis. So the Ultrasaurs hit a Declammer. Quite shocked to see that in match one, but only game, like first game of the match. But so this is the type of thing I was hoping to see. This can trade off with the Chrysalis pretty happily, and then we've got, I guess the brown scale is not doing too much for us right now, but quite a lot of life gain in the North of the Bones. So unfortunately we can't mill this yet because we've not got any 2-3 every turn isn't going to be enough to turn the game around. I think we have to trade with the Ultisaur and take a bunch. Trample's quite rough. So this is an interesting kind of variation of the deck. It's back to playing some more of the Ponza style cards, a bit of tech in the Declammer, and a lot of the kind of Draw Monster decks. I don't think we're playing Squeds and Bolts. So we can't afford to dredge here. I don't think we have another red source we can fetch. Just Haunted Mires, so we will take one of these into play. And then we can Gnaw to the Bone, which should offset most of this damage, 16. Yeah, just kind of offset this turn. But obviously not looking too good for us at the minute. Having 2 land destruction spells for our 2 red sources, and then whether they're keeping some back to snatch another in the future, or if those are the only 2 they drew, that could be unfortunate. And taking the Monarchy is going to be quite difficult. I reckon that's probably enough for this game. So I'll scoop there. So post board, bring in all the Accursed Marauders, and these are hopefully going to be good enough that if we just play an Accursed Marauder every turn, we will eventually get there. Bring in the Evolution Witness. Again, it's something that can potentially trade up and can get value as the game goes on. Crypt Rats is probably just too slow. I don't think we saw any enchantments. Like, obviously, most of the time they're on Utopia Spores and so on. The Mass Vandals are pretty good to snatch. I guess the only thing these could currently get would be if they're on Nyxborn Hydra, so maybe I can leave 1 or 2 in. Let's leave 1 and take out one of the Crypt Rats. We'll leave 1 behind just as a if we do get into the very late game, having access to it in our toolbox will be very powerful. Stinkweed Imp is pretty good. Happy with 2 Gnaws, don't think we need any more. So say kind of previously in the matchup, I've been trying to get to a point where using the torch resistance, we can get back Grave Scrabbler, get back 2 Accursed Marauders, say, for turn 1 and 2, and that's kind of how we're grinding out the advantage as the game goes on. So without access to that due to this bug, it'll be interesting to see whether we can come up on top. I'll keep this. So we saw a random deglamour in game 1. I don't know whether they'll have put us on torch resistance. They didn't see any. They just saw a whole bunch of bad creatures. So depending on how creative they are, they might suspect what we're on. They might not. So we can play out the Haunted Mire, Twisted Landscape. Landscape's quite precious as getting us a red source, as we saw in game 1. Yeah, I'm beginning to wish that I'd left in a couple more of the Mass Vandals. I have to target them. Quite a funny interaction with the relics is that because you need to exile something with the Mass Vandal in order to get the exile trigger. Sorry, you have to exile something from your graveyard in order to exile one of their permanents. The relic's actually pretty good against that. They can often kind of snag something coming down. So if I play out Landscape here, and then we'll be using a cash grab in their end step, which will hopefully give us a few turns of fodder away from the relic. We're also not giving them any particularly good targets for Thermocrass, nothing too valuable. I mean, they can get our green source, get our Haunted Mire, but we've got a backup for our green source, and we've got a lot that we can draw. Let's play the cash grab. So we've already got a torch resistance, not too interested in a second. I think I'm taking this Chrysalis. And then I can fetch a mountain. Or fetch the 1 mountain. We'll use this as our chance to put Chrysalis in play. Obviously they might well blow it up, but hopefully we can trade that for some tempo. And then we've got the if they spend their if we play Chrysalis, they spend their next turn killing a land. We could then potentially marauder the next play and hope the game progresses favourably from there. So one thing we will have to watch out for is when we play the Accursed Marauder, if they can pick that off with a bolt, there's still a sacrifice a non-token permanent you control trigger on the stack that risk going out, making us then sacrifice our Chrysalis. It's a bit risky trying anything too bulbous. They've got the Screds and Bolts, they've shown us some more red mana up. So they do go after the green source. I'm kind of okay with. So I think we play the landscape now, and we'll kind of crack it in their end step to keep our spell protected from any land destruction this turn. We're going to have 5 lands, so a Scred will kill this. On attack, sack once put a counter on this, but I think it's worth leaving the second alive to have a boarding party. Just having that one blocker turns into 6 damage. They can catch our Twisted Landscape. They do have a boarding party. Cascades into an Arbor Elf. Just gain 6 life. Fetch ourselves a forest. The Arbor Elf is quite frustrating. It's catching out or keeping us off of maraudering down anything too good. So we can play 3 for an Evolution Witness, which I'm keen to play whilst we've got our green source available. We won't currently have a way to adapt it. Let's attack for 4. Crazy they block. I thought about that as a second, but was not expecting it. So now we do get to snag the boarding party. And we'll go to exile the landscape. So we've got like we've got one other creature covered, and if they don't destroy a forest, we get the value from adapting. So yeah, kind of cover both. We do have quite a few forests that we can draw into. So the spread's quite rough here. Druid or a Forest, which is great. Guess we play our Forest out, attack with both. Playing a Curse Marauder. So again, they can kill this to make us sacrifice something else, but currently Bolt targeting this gets some value, or a Scred just kills us anyway. So that's happened, and now they've got a... they could respond to Evolution Witness either with a removal spell or just cracking the Relic. So I think I'm just going to pass. Make us lose one thing, I'll lose the Haunted Mire. The second Relic. Okay. Acid Moss here. So I can make them crack a Relic. Try and put counter on my guy. It's got to be better than gaining 4 life. So they do get to draw from this. But hopefully with 2 counters we can be applying some pressure. It's an interesting build that they're on, where they're losing a lot of the explosiveness for a bit of a better middle game, which explosiveness through the mana ramp for a bit of better middle game, late game through the bolts and screds and so on. But I've got to think a lot of the power on a Thermocrast is being able to cast it on turn 2 and 3, or Thermocrast Acid Moss is casting it on turn 2 or 3 more regularly. It's only our shaky mana base that's really making this difficult. So having to quite think about this, it looks like it's definitely a removal spell and a Relic activation they're choosing between. So I'm imagining that's a Bolt, otherwise this would have been dead by now. I feel like I'm making a lot of these predictions and getting them all wrong when they've now just Scred the Chrysalis, for example. So they do pop the graveyard. Annoyingly, that's I think both of our Haunted Mires are now gone. So the Troll's going to be hard work. We can get in for 8. I can play the Sorceress Mire, and then is there an advantage playing the Torture Resistance out yet? I don't think so. I do have the Scred. It's very patient of them. I don't know whether I'd have taken all the damage, but so holding on a second. So we can Madness this, target one of these creatures to come back. I guess if we're doing that, it's better to try and cycle the Troll first. No, I think the evolution. Sorry, no, I'm off of that again. The Evolution Witness, if we hit a green source, will be a good card to have back in hand. So we can Madness at instant speed, which we'll try and do in their end step. So we lose the Maya. I think I'd rather the Evolution Witness than the Chrysalis. Just kind of trying to work out why. I guess I'm thinking that they're more likely to be able to pick off the red source and leave the Stranded in our hand. That's a number of their draws, whereas the Witness, we only have to draw a forest. That basically any time we draw a forest that turn, it becomes alive again. So I'll accept the Chrysalis. Shouldn't really matter anyway. I think they're quite likely to crack the Relic in response to our Madness. So try and get back this, discard this. Thinking about cracking now. They do. So we get to play a 2-2 onto the board. So the Gnor's not currently doing anything. I'm going to keep the Troll in hand, as that could potentially be another Grave Scrabbler. So if this goes to the graveyard, we get to this is a reader. So this is doing 1 damage to both. So 1 damage to us, and then we go to combat, another damage. So that's fine. We can respond to any graveyard hate by picking this up and then basically putting it back into play. It's a boarding party, no generous end. That's okay, I guess. So black, get back this, discard this. Black, get back this, discard this. There's our exile over there. So I'm going to play out a swamp for a turn closer to the Troll of Khazad-dûm. No point attacking, but we do essentially have that loop again. So we've kind of got a wall here. See what they have for Rumble. Looks like a boarding party. So I guess having access to the Grave Scrabbler is preventing, I guess now 5 damage this turn. I'm surprised I didn't play the boarding party earlier. That doesn't quite make sense to me. So my Triton's okay. So again, Death Touch blocker. See what we mill over. Brown scale is pretty nice to see. So no attacks. We've got access to some life gain. So we've got the Grave Scrabblers staring down one of them. My Triton's threatening to trade with the other. Because we don't actually have enough. They can go after the mountain. That's fine. Yeah, going after swamp's actually more annoying. So I'm just going to gain some life. So again, without the Scrabbler bug, we'd actually be able to kind of gain or make some progress with these loops, get back 2 creatures, but as is, I'm not stopping my upkeep and put the brown scale back in the graveyard so I can dredge again. Get back this, pay black, dredge away this. Dredge 2. So Chrysalis is going to be still very hard to cast, and the Mass Vandal, the relics are all gone. I think I'm going to Swamp Cycle this away. So we're out of Haunted Mires. I've got 2 more swamps to get, so we can send the brown scale into a troll, Swamp Cycle, draw the Swamp Cycle. Does this work? No, we need to. So basically, then in the next turn we can dredge back the brown scale. Yeah, okay, they're just. I'm gonna struggle to keep any mana under us. So we can just gain some life here. And then gaining the life hopefully means I'm going to start attacking with the Maya Triton. So stopping our upkeep again. Get back this, discard this. And then we're looking for a Curse Marauders or more Maya Tritons in the graveyard. After the dredge. Dredge 2. No, just a land. So attack 2. Maybe I'm overestimating how much. I think I've overestimated how much mana I've had, and actually this is pretty bad because it's going to cost essentially all of our mana to get back a Grave Scrabbler each turn. But again, kind of conditioned into thinking this would be getting back some other value if we could send it to the graveyard. You know, if people are playing against this deck, being able to keep a Grave Scrabbler almost stranded in play can be quite powerful against it. Didn't want to see that guy. At least now I guess it means that they're going to have to block with our Maya Triton, or block our Maya Triton, stop us from gaining the Monarch. end step. In response to this, I'll do some ground scaling. So finally put an I could finally put an auto yield on that, but again, it's a few clicks, but it's worth gaining the life. And then we're kind of having the ground scale in the graveyard means we're kind of guaranteeing drawing a creature every turn by dredging it. I'm just currently not able to cast any of the things in our kind of toolbox. But hopefully we'll be adding the Triton to it soon. And the other good hit would be our own Generous End that would unlock our green mana again, but the Writhing Chrysalis are now completely dead to us. So, okay, dredge 2, gain 2 life. So we do get another Maya Triton back, which is pretty decent. I can't remember whether there was another swamp in our deck. Let's go back to... So swamps, there's 4 swamps and a snow-covered swamp. We have 3 snow-covered, so there is still a swamp in our deck we could get. I'm going to attack for 2 with the Maya Triton, see what they want to trade it for. Got to think they don't want us to gain the Monarch. So black, get back a Maya Triton, discard a Golgari Brown Scale. I think I want a Swamp Cycle just to get, I'll just double check my count again, so no swamps over here, just a snow-covered one here. I think I do want to Swamp Cycle just to get another one in play. Play a Maya Triton. Doing this before milling, just in case I hit that swamp, it would have been that would have been ugly. So we've even got another Maya Triton in the bin. Those scions, those spawn tokens block these 2/1 death touches for a long old time. So opponents conceded here. I don't know whether they've boarded out this Deglamour we saw game 1, and then they've used both of their pieces of graveyard hate, but like, I mean, they're low on the clock. I think we're a long way away from we're a long way from getting through here. We start attacking with 2 death touches a turn, but without the without this returning an extra creature, we're only ever returning 1 thing a turn, and they're drawing 2 cards. It seems. Oh well, we'll take it. Right. Anything we want to change here? So we've only got 1 Masked Vandal. I could see putting a second in. Obviously, any of the red cards are a hard no at this point. So another Masked Vandal to protect against the relics is an option. Our own kind of enchantments are unlikely to survive as long again. Not seeing anything that makes the crypt traps look particularly good, apart from just as the game goes on. Be able to pick off some creatures. If we get up to multiple black pips in play, being able to do something there. So maybe this, and cut one of the Gnaw to the Bones. Kind of saying if the Gnaw to the Bones is going to be good, we might be in trouble anyway. We'll give this a go. So we'll keep this for game 3. Our land situation's a bit tenuous, and we're having to rumble into another one, but I don't want to go down on cards if we can avoid it. So this is this the first Utopia Spore we've seen? We can lead on Twisted Landscape so that we're a bit. They can't easily thermocrast us out the gates. So they have a rumble. I'm sure we've not seen a repurposer either to now. And a relic. So we've got a bit of time. Do you want to fetch a green and play the rumble? Problem is that we don't have all that much time behind us. If we don't rumble now, don't hit a land drop, I think we'll just fall behind. They took a forest out of this lot. I feel like I need to take the forest and take and hope we rumble into a land. That's pretty nice. So again, an interesting choice here. We could actually take the Mass Vandal or the Troll, which guarantees our land drop. We don't really have anything going on with the graveyard so far, so I think I'm just going to take the Troll. Try and set up that we can play this for the turn, getting a fetch it for a mountain, and start getting our 2 Chrysalis online. Kind of mentioned this, I think in one of the previous games. Like I've tended to like my or like parts of the Ponza matchup, because if they are just going after your lands kind of indiscriminately, you do have a lot of ways to find lands or put them into play. So going here, I will Swamp Cycle. I think I get black-green here and just keep our core colours under us. That's a very aggressive spread. And they send a message back. So I think I like playing out the Maya Triton. Milling the Sulphurous Maya is not great for us. We'll play the Haunted Maya. I'm expecting it's going to get picked off. Or else we play the Twisted Landscape. Okay, so I'll play the Twisted Landscape. It's hard for them to go after this, but I think that we're unlikely to fetch it into a mountain if we can avoid it. Okay. So they are quite low on, well, it looks like they're still low on lands maybe. They can't quite get up into plays they want to make. Punished for not fetching the mountain by drawing the untapped land. I'll play a Haunted Maya. Again, we can fetch this in their end step to protect our mountain for the turn. And then if they go after this, we can play a Forest and Chrysalis. They know I want a mountain. I know they know I want a mountain. Is it crazy to just not fetch the mountain and have them not play anything? Is it crazy? Problem is that if I had anything else going on, I'd go for it. But currently, I just kind of want to get a 4/5 into play. I mean, they can scred in response to the last sack trigger. I'm gonna get my mountain. Hope that I can find a way to discard the other Chrysalis that's never getting cast. Slight bit of value. Leave up a black-green duel. That was a mistake. I really wish I had sacked one of these to play the Myers right on that turn. Just more power in play. If I'm dangling out a red source, I feel like I want to be. So they spread for 4, so we get to keep our guy alive. And we're going to get to play another Chrysalis. We take 6, they're going to take 6 back. I quite like our spot. Actually, I guess we've got choices to play the Maya or so play Chrysalis. Wow, I feel like we might get away with one, huh? So sack this, can swamp cycle. Don't actually like that. So sack this, sack black, pay black, curse Marauder. This avoids if they have a piece of spot removal being able to pick off the Marauder. Attack for 6. Don't think I'm going to need that extra mana for something in the next turn. And I will swamp cycle just to get the Maya. Play. So, you know, cards on the table. Hopefully it holds. Then Chrysalis would be pretty good. Oh, I guess this turned on a scred for this guy. That's pretty good for them. So, just try and attack first. I think I'm reading this as a scred here. No? Okay. Black green, play a Maya Triton. And then I'm going to hold the end back. Don't know what we might draw. So if we draw a land, having the end in hand is good. Four mana. That was a weird match. I'm not sure what I think of their deck. As I said, they kind of feel like they're losing a lot of the explosiveness of the kind of normal green-red aggro or pawns builds. We've only seen one Utopia Sprawl the entire match. Their kind of slower game plans work quite well against us because they can pick off a few odd lands here and there. But then, if you end up in a match like in a game set like this and you're facing down a reasonable board and you're acid mossing lands, that's something you need to be doing in the early stage of the game. Doing it like a turn 4 acid moss just doesn't really keep up. Interesting, and 3-1 onto round 5. So on the draw in round 5 against Hot Dogs, I'll keep this at risk being a bit slow, but like a white weenie or Boros, for example. The Paducah book could be quite good. I guess point here of this guy has reach, great against Battle Screech and so on. But the downside is they do have access to Raven Charm, which I guess destroy an enchantment is pretty good against torch resistance, as is Exile or Graveyard. But equally, we've got a board sweep with Crypt Rats that we could hit. So, what's the plan? I think I like Malevolent Rumble, block with a Scion, and fetch a red-green duel and just try and get this into play. I guess if we get the red-green duel, we need to find an untapped land to play it in 2 turns' time. But having this in the graveyard, we can pick off a clue token or something. So, because we've got the Mass Vandal, the Cash Grab's likely to make a food, so I want to lead on the Rumble. Guess Troll. My Triton's not too good, but they're slightly less aggressive, and then obviously I don't really want to be trading for a lot of these. Whereas against Mono Red, where they are more aggressive, just getting 2 life and trading is fine. Getting 2 life and trading when they've already made a clue token is a harder sell. So we can block something, Swamp Cycle for black-red, play the black-red land. It would only have 1 mana available, so we can't so in order to make sure that we get the other Swamp Cycle from an untapped land, it doesn't look like we'd be able to play the Masked Vandal, so this might be quite a rough start to the game. Taking quite a beating. So I'm just going to block here. Prioritize getting the black-red land. An idea where we draw an untapped land. That's pretty good. So the advantage of that is it means we can play out a Masked Vandal now. I'll send the other Masked Vandal into exile just to pick off a treasure. We can play the Sorceress Mire for the turn, and then have the Twisted Landscape for our next turn to give us the turn for Chrysalis. And then we can just afford to block up one of these. I mean, still taking a lot of damage, but having this in play turns on the cash grab for later. So you get to go very wide with the Unicorn next turn. We are live. If we draw we could draw a Crypt Rats, but So we'll make 4 blockers, and they can do 10 damage. Then we only get to kill 1. Because only the Mass Vandal will get to kill 1. Sorry, only the Crystal will get to kill 1. This isn't big enough until they pump. And then we'll have to try and hit something off of the cash grab, I guess. So 4 blockers taking 10. We could leave a Scion or a Spawn token back. The extra land would give us access to 5 mana next turn. And then it kind of doesn't, it gives us the option of accessing 5 mana next turn, so they don't attack it. So let's assume we're going to block like this as a minimum. So we want to block here, so we sacrifice 1 to make sure we kill this. We'll be taking 10, down to 4. Cash grab would gain us back up to 7, and they would deal, the next turn, they would deal, have 8 creatures. So I have to do 8 damage. So that's not currently enough. We'd have to hit something else with the cash grab. I think I like this as a block. So green and 1 for the cash grab. I can do green and black. Don't think there's any double black spells we might need, and you know, in some way we draw out of this. Having the landscape untapped could be good. So Swamp Mountain landscape. Chrysalis, we've not got another green source for the to play the Chrysalis. I think we have to take that. Don't think the other cards do anything. So we'll take that, we'll play another black-green duel, and see if they kill us. They could be very kind and choose not to. So just put things in front of what they want to block. And game 3, take 10. Down a game. So for this matchup, I want another Crypt Rats, I want the Scattershot Archer, I think I want the Evolution Witness. Again, if they can go after Torch Resistance, this gives us a way to get it back. I don't think I want the Curse Marauders. don't think I want Augur of Skulls. I might want a Gorilla Shaman just to pick up a load of clues if we get the chance. I'm going to board out the Grave Scrabblers more or less any opportunity I get at the minute. Normally I'd keep these in. Just rely on the Kitchen Imp. So 2 Grave Scrabblers and a Curse Border. Again, the Gorilla Shaman, you know, it's I'm bringing it as a high floor, low ceiling. Sorry, other way around. High ceiling, low floor type card. If I get it at a good spot in the game, could be great. I'm keeping the Mass Vandals. The Maya Tritons, unfortunately, I think just have to stick around. I'm not too excited to have them. Maybe the Tritons are worse than a Grave Scrabbler, just having a 2/2 is better than Triton. Oh, I'm confused myself now. So I want these 4, I don't want some of these 5. If I do this and take out 2 Maya Tritons and keep one of the Grave Scrabblers, just so we've got 2, you know, essentially recursive 2/2s, even if that's all they are. And we'll give this a go. So I've left out the Fairy Macabres. Unless they have the Lunat, like a Lunat veteran in play, they can just battle Screech twice. That might just be a mistake. So Forest, get a green-black land, and we're kind of, you know, got our lands beneath us at least. Everything else will have to assemble itself from there. Play out Scattershot Archer. I'm actually maybe I should have kept this back because I've got access to the Crypt Rats, but I'm thinking that I'm going to have to play a Tortured. Basically, I'm going to want another black source pretty soon, and currently my route to that is some kind of combination, playing a Tortured Resistance off my 1 black source, the next turn being able to get back the Generous End. So obviously that's pretty slow going, so I don't want to take too much damage in the meantime. So I don't normally love doing this, but I'm going to hang out a Tortured Resistance that could get Thraben Charmed. Because I think getting this, getting the other mana pip is going to be that important as the game goes on. And then I'll ideally just use the Masked Vandal as my card of discard, so I won't play it now. I'm going to block. So they're thinking through something. I imagine this is a Thraben Charm, and whether they want to try and snag it from my graveyard or just kill this now. Little do they know we have basically no action, so if they don't want to cast it now, we'll basically go to their turn and kind of price them into using their mana for something. I think it's definitely the right decision to go for it there. I've seen better Gorilla Shamans. So weighing up whether to mass Vandal down this clue token now. We don't currently have a way to recur the Generous End, and having this in play prevents damage going forwards. You know, if they have another land, it prevents 2 damage. I think we're scrappy enough to go for that. They're not a deck that tends to run too many kind of artifacts and enchantments to snag. I don't think they are often on Journey to Nowhere at the minute. This is a bit annoying. We can no longer block whatever they put the counter on. We can get pumped up to 3 power. But obviously it's very mana intensive for them to spend their turn spending 4 mana doing 3 damage to us, so hopefully that will give us time to draw out a little mana funk. Okay, I'm pretty happy with this. I guess we take 5. I mean, we could double block here. That seems very, very bold. So that's pretty good. That's going to get us our red source next turn, and then we can play a Crypt Raptor now. So with that red, basically with a Chrysalis in play, we'll shut down most of their current kind of, you know, gradual attacking beats. The little scatter shot that could is unlikely to be able to take down a core Skyfisher. Oh, I don't want to auto yield. I do not want. Okay, there you go for another counter. Is this on the inspector to have? I don't know. It's got to be this. Okay. Sure. I guess that's going to be up to 4/5, but it still won't attack through the Chrysalis. So let's yield until the end step. Guess our mountain. Just good deck building. We are definitely just trying to hang on there at this point. See if they our kind of motley assortment of creatures can buy us enough time to get our mana under us and start making some progress. I don't particularly know what the progress looks like at the minute, but no attacks is a sign that we're moving in the right direction. Mass Vandal on its own isn't particularly enticing. I'm not going to play this out because we're quite likely to crack the Crypt Rats. And they've got enough mana where anything they do that's going to make themselves a clue token, they can just crack the clue straight away. Kind of already past the point where the Shaman would be doing much for us. So this isn't too bad. We get to gain some life. which will have a chance to put some creatures in the graveyard for the Naught to the Bone. Instead, we managed to mill some swamps that we could elect for the Crypt Rats, but I guess we have a higher chance of drawing some action next turn. And it continues to go quite wide. Pretty happy to draw a Rumble. At least it's a second black Sorceress. I'm not going to turn that down. It gives us a chance to pick off essentially everything but the Unicorn at this point. Scattershot will do the 3rd damage here. And we've got a whole bunch of spawn tokens. We're never going to pump the Chrysalis enough to survive her. I know we could survive the Thraven Charm at the minute, couldn't we? Because we could essentially take out their creatures. So we do have a Mass Vandal that we currently can't sacrifice. Can't exile anything from the graveyard to cast. I guess we deal 1 to each creature with flying in response. Do the Screech. So we kind of need to put some creatures in our graveyard for the Masked Vandal. We can mop up, what's this going to be, a Veteran, a couple of Thravens and these tokens for our Crypt Rats and Maya Triton. I think that I'll have to do. We'll still have 1 Vandal in play. Actually, this seems like it's probably a mistake, but I've started sacking the spawn, so I'll carry on. So X is 2. The reason I've kind of come off of this is that, the Scattershot currently, the benefit again, the Scattershot back is that we can deal with the flying creatures, but obviously Crypt Rat would be dealing with them as well. So gain some life. That cycles. I'll attack for 5. Guess we cycle first in case we hit something good. I like seeing the torch resistance, so Masked Vandal. Okay, you can exile the Maya Triton, the Crypt Rat's got to be better. Get back that guy. And then I guess this covers the Veteran in the graveyard. They get in for 5. We've got a Gnaw. I always forget this gives Vigilance. So the Brood Scale is pretty good. I'll do the old Brood Scale gain life trick, so black. Try and get back the Crypt Rats. Discard the Brood Scale. In response, gain 4 life. And attack with Chrysalis. So I want to get this into the graveyard so we can dredge next turn. And then if I'm doing, and I want Crypt Rats to have access to it. If I'm going to do that, I'll do that when they're tapped out so that I don't get blown out by a Thraben Charm Mixer in the graveyard. Again, if they spend a turn using all their mana attacking for 5, I think just take it again. At some point in the future we can think about blocking with a Mass Vandal, but I don't think we're at that stage yet. So I feel pretty good about this game. Another Chrysalis is great. One thing to note here is now this is in our hand, they try and exile our graveyard in response to getting this back. We can just, I'm saying this like it's a particularly good thing. We can just throw more resources into getting back the Chrysalis, which at this point I'll be wanting to do. Just make Chrysalis is got to be probably the best card, the best creature in Pauper. As I mentioned, one of the things I think of as good about this deck is that you can play, the most Chrysalises. You see a lot of cards with the cash grabs, and you get to cast them a lot with Torches. So I'll happily throw the Crypt Rats after this as well. They're not currently representing a particularly large board where I have to fear or have to have the access to the rats. All those goes away. I can play the Chrysalis, and then this should stop there, kind of chipping in with the Unicorn. And through a motley assortment of 2 Mass Vandals, a Scattershot Archer, we can hold down the fort whilst Chrysalis go to work. So Gorilla Shaman wasn't that good, and as I mentioned, we probably could have looked at bringing in the Fairy Macabres just to snag a Battle Screech if they've, under those kind of some conditions. Other point with the Macabres is they can hit Prismatic Strands, but we've got a good split of colours. And then Chrysalis is devoid anyway, so that doesn't seem too good. Maybe it's just better than the Shaman. This does something if we manage to get a red mana under us early on, which we're not often able to do. Whereas this at least is relevant later on in the game. The Shaman, they need to find our red mana early. They have to have a few clue tokens hanging around. Whereas Macabres, we can recur at any point in the game. I think we'll keep it like this, and see if we can get 4-1 with Torches, which should be a better result than I was expecting, including sandbagging the broken Grave Scrabbler. So hand's got everything we want in that gets its mana under it, it's got a Crypt Rat. I'm gonna keep. Obviously, there's a lot of aggressive hands where this might not do enough. I think we're going to end up cycling this into a Haunted Mire just so we can play a 3-mana 2/3 to the board on turn 3. So swamp and get a Haunted Mire. And old Brownie's coming. And again, obviously, as I mentioned before, we want as many black pips for the eventual Crypt Rat's turn as possible. Guess we can do this off of the landscape. I don't think it will really matter. It's just it means if we draw a tap land, we've got the we can't do it off the landscape because it needed double green. So instead we just stop playing a Sad Triton. I don't want to play this and get this Raven Charmed. So Gnaw and a Stinkweed Imp is pretty good actually. I mean, it's very mana intensive, but just Stinkweed Imp, putting that in front of each of their creatures is, I guess, a plan. So we're probably blocking whatever my Triton can. Oh man, I made it even worse myself, didn't I? I didn't. So, need to play the forest, play the ground scale according to the plan. And then if I wasn't doing that, there's no reason to tap this instead of the Haunted Mire. We could have essentially searched up another swamp in that turn. One of those things of making a mistake, panicking and making it worse. So what do we want to do here? We can still just play out a round scale this turn and then get a swamp, which I don't hate. The alternative would be trying to get something off of the cash grab. I guess the benefit is we've got to use a Thraben Charm on the threat of the Stinkweed Imp and the North to the Bone. So we've kind of been rewarded by this line, even though I'm pretty unhappy with that as a mistake. Let's see if they get to discard for value. But oh boy, does Brownie want to block the Raffine's Informant. Love to. So discard a Battle Screech. If we hit an untapped land and can deal 2 to all creatures, I'd be pretty happy. So yield until end step. Take 2. Need to fetch yourselves a swamp. And then really hope we draw an untapped land. Could be better, could be worse. So, what are the options? Obviously the big worry is if they have a Battle Screech currently just dead. That's based on not playing anything out. The Rumble at least gives us an extra blocker so that we survive. So I like that as a start to a plan, but obviously we still need something extra to hopefully get us in a better position than surviving on minimal life. So some land and a masked vandal. If we play a land where we'll be kind of, just playing out the Crypt Rats from the swamp, hang it to Thraben Charm. The alternative would be using the spawn to play a Kitchen Imp, just hard ways, which has the chance of keeping the bird tokens at home if they have nothing, or at least gives us something else to block, which I think I prefer over dumping the Crypt Rats into play. So I think we're definitely taking the swamp. Currently, we would block these two, take 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, plus. So 6 plus 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Did I mess up my maths earlier? Oh, sorry, that's assuming I don't block. So it's 16 damage if we don't have any creatures. We don't have any blocks. If I play out the Swamp Kitchen Imp, they attack with everything. I can go block Skyfisher, block the Fiend's Informant, block Thraben Inspector, take 2, 4, 6. Is that only 8? Take 8. Sorry, 3, 6, 9. Take 12. Go to 3, which means the Crypt Rats for 2 would pick off everything. Which means we can still Crypt Rats for 2. We pick off everything but this. We can also dredge this back for 2 more life. So what I'm saying is that I like Kitchen Imp. Like just play Kitchen Imp. And get back to just hold ? Kitchen Imp, obviously, over Strictly Worse Kitchen Imp. So more Skyfishers, still a problem, but this is kind of on the plus side of if the Kitchen Imp gets to keep the bird tokens at home, not too unhappy. He's done his job. I would love to put this to trade this Golgari Brown Scale or something. Yeah, okay, so Thraben Charm there. No attacks. So they've missed 4 damage, which very bad for. So we can play our land, play Crypt Rats, hold up 2 black mana, and essentially this is going to be they'll attack with everything. We take a bunch from the Skyfishers. Yeah, I've had a few things where opponents have misclicked through things this league. this is the plan. Giving them a warning so they can hold up prismatic strands is, you know, a little risky. We're taking 6. Yes, get in there, Golgari Brown Scale. No, come back. Come back, Rafine's informant. But so if they hold up prismatic strands, we have enough black pips where we can still do 2 to each creature safely. So do attack with the informant. I guess it makes sense from their perspective, the Brown Scale holding down the fort. But holding back the Thraben Inspector that would otherwise trade with the Maya Tritons, but if their plan is to get there through the air, then it shouldn't matter too much. Okay, this looks like we should be able to wipe away the board with Crypt Rats in our next turn. If we're doing that, we want to think about doing an upkeep so that we can dredge back the Brown Scale to gain some life. No, don't make it 4. 4's huge. What's this going after? Yeah. So I think we want to take the opportunity to wipe the board. That would be 4 black mana pips. So we take out our board. If we do it now, we get to dredge back the Brown Scale, we get our draw step, and then we'll have a cash grab for our turn. And I don't think I'm going to get blown out. For what it's worth, I don't know if there's like a prevent all damage, is it Hallow or something that they could play? So we'll do it in 2 goes, so that at minimum we get to take out all of the chaff. So black, activate the 2. Hold priority, black, activate the 2. I think this will work. I think Hallow is prevent all damage a spell or ability would do, so having 2 abilities doesn't care, it doesn't know that they're from the same source. So we dredge a Brown Scale back up. Gain 2 life. Play a cash grab. Playing it now in case we get a land. It's got to be a Chrysalis, right? 4 mana, have 2 mana left over. Just always take Chrysalis if you can. Do see the Scattershot Archer go by. And now we went from having a big lead on the clock to being behind. That guy's pretty big. It's going to be up to 4/5. That's rough. 4/5, just enough to bounce off the Chrysalis, but no longer kind of beneficial for us. And they start rebuilding. Draw 2. Black, black, green, red, play Chrysalis, cast trigger, green, green, black, play a brown scale, pass back. So hopefully now we get to stare down. They got an idyllic range with their Eagles. I don't think they've played it. I think that's this one. I don't think it's one they've been holding back. They do have enough creatures in play where they could nuke this with their... If they had another Thraben Charm. No attacks. Actual attacks. Don't like that. So... I guess this could likely be Guardian's Pledge, so we can block like this just to keep this, keep the brown scale around. We have to sacrifice both spawns for this. So they'll be killing off, if that's what they have, they'll be killing off the Chrysalis. We should be able to come up the ground again. Oh, rough, okay. So I think we start off with cycling this, red, green, black. Perfect. Go back here again. But yeah, so if we can hit a torch resistance to let us turn some of these into more Chrysalis, I'd be very happy. And then try and make sure that we don't run ourselves out of time. I'm going to do the same block again. Always very paranoid that as I auto-yield quite often, I'm going to get myself in a bind and skip my opportunity to sack spawns or something. So I do a lot of toggling auto-yields on and off. Okay, I have another. So we just repeat the turn cycle. Troll of Khazad-dûm, well, he's big. I think this has got to be our best play. So we need to hit something on our next turn, or else the Skyfish is going to pick us off. It's a funny one. And unfortunately, we do not get there. So, wind up 3 and 2. I can't say I'm unhappy with it. I definitely feel like I've played some tortured existence. I'm going to have a well-deserved break after this. I've done these 5 matches basically back to back, and that's been a long old afternoon. Again, opponent, I guess, in this game missed an attack that would have had us dead a long time ago, so don't feel too bad about losing it.